What if you could get a car that's fuel efficient, earth-friendly, quick, and fun to drive at a price of just 1.3 million pesos? There has to be a catch, right? This is the Nissan Kicks VE. I think in terms of value proposition, this is the standout in the Kicks lineup. In this video, we'll test it thoroughly, we'll do a proper fuel consumption test, and we'll see if there's actually a catch. So, is it worth your money? Let's find out. That trip from Ortigas to QC, it's almost 16 kilometers, and that only cost me 26 pesos. The Kicks is a pretty handsome looking crossover. Its low and long headline, wide fenders, low roofline, and squinty headlights give it a very sporty look. It's almost exactly the same size as the Yaris Cross Hybrid. The Kicks is only 10mm shorter and 10mm narrower, which is an almost insignificant difference. The Kicks comes in 3 variants which range in price from 1.2 million pesos for the base model EL to 1.5 million pesos for the top spec VL model. This one right here, I think, is the sweet spot in the lineup. Okay, so what we have here is the middle spec Nissan Kicks VE. On the outside, all 3 variants of the Kicks look very similar. Surprisingly, they all come with the same 17-inch wheels. They all come with LED headlamps, although only the VL comes with automatic on-off headlamps. Only the VL comes with fog lamps. The VE and the EL do not come with fog lamps. All variants come with power folding side mirrors with repeaters. You get roof rails on all variants. So one way of telling the VL apart from the other variants is that the VL comes with a two-tone finish. The roof of the VL is finished in gloss black, while on the VE, it is finished in body color. This also gets a smart locking system, so you can lock or unlock the vehicle without having to get the key out of your pocket. The Kicks is technically a hybrid, but it's different from other hybrids available in the market, like the Yaris Cross and the Corolla Cross Hybrid. Unlike those hybrids, this one feels more like an electric car than the other way around. Now, under the hood of the Nissan Kicks, you'll find a 1.2-liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated gasoline engine. But one thing that separates the Kicks from other hybrids like the Yaris Cross and the Corolla Cross Hybrid is that the engine is not connected to the wheels at all. The only purpose of the gasoline engine is to charge the battery. The front wheels are driven exclusively by the electric motor somewhere down there. Now that puts out 134 horsepower and 280 Newton meters of torque, which may not seem like much, but because it's an electric motor, the torque delivery is a lot more instantaneous, so it feels a lot more responsive. It feels really quick from a dead stop. Now that engine over there charges the battery, which is located underneath the front seat. So the battery of the Kicks is down here. As you can see, there's a vent here for cooling the batteries. Now that's a 2.13 kilowatt hour battery, which is significantly bigger than the batteries of the Yaris Cross and the Corolla Cross Hybrid. Those, I believe, have less than 1 kilowatt hour. Like I said, this is 2.13 kilowatt hours. You will never have to charge the battery. The battery is charged exclusively by the engine and also by kinetic energy. When you're braking, when you're going downhill, that charges the battery. So yeah, you can't charge the battery even if you wanted to because there is no external outlet over here. If you're looking for a hybrid that can be charged, you should be looking for a plug-in hybrid like the Tiggo 8 Pro Hybrid. Also, it's worth noting that unlike the Yaris Cross Hybrid and the Corolla Cross Hybrid, which also come in ICE variants, all variants of the Nissan Kicks are hybrids. There is no ICE variant for the Kicks. They all get the same LED tail lamps over here, and they all get manual lift gates. Cargo space for the Nissan Kicks is 480 liters, which is a lot for its size. That's more cargo space than the Yaris Cross, which has 397 liters, and the Geely Coolray, which has 330 liters. Now, this particular unit comes with an aftermarket Infinity sound system. Obviously, this does not come stock with a VE, but cargo space is almost exactly the same. Now, I've been spoiled by the interiors of the current generation of Chinese cars, and compared to those, the interior of the Kicks is a bit underwhelming in terms of design and in terms of materials. But then again, that's not what you're paying for here. This is a hybrid, and as far as hybrids go, this is very affordable, so expect some compromises. Okay, so we're now inside the Nissan Kicks VE. Now, one major difference between the VE and the VL is that the VE comes with fabric seats, while the VL comes with leather seats. Both seats are manually adjustable. The steering wheel is actually covered in leather, although it doesn't seem like it at first because it feels so firm. It almost feels like there's no padding. I like how it looks though. It gets a flat bottom and you get these thin spokes over here. You get some soft touch materials here, like this part of the dashboard is covered in leather and it's padded. The door card armrests are covered in fabric, and you get a center armrest covered in leather. The rest is made of hard plastic. This is hard plastic over here, hard plastic. Both the VL and the VE come with an 8-inch infotainment screen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. But while the VL gets a 360 camera, this VE does not even get a reverse camera. This gets single zone climate control, and thankfully you get physical knobs for your fan speed and temperature controls. Down there is one USB-C port, one USB-A port, and one 12-volt outlet. Electronic parking brake without the hold. Your push start button is over here. There is this EV mode button over here. Now, if you want to drive the car in EV mode, meaning you want to drive it with the engine off, just press this button over here. Now, you have to satisfy a certain condition before you can use that. The battery has to be charged at a certain level. This mouse looking thing over here is actually the shifter. Now, it feels awkward at first, but eventually you get used to it. To put it in drive, just push it down like so. To put it in reverse, push it forward. And to put it in park, just press the P button over here. Yeah, in terms of storage, the glove box is pretty decently sized for the size of the car. Very little storage underneath the armrest. You have two cup holders over here, and enough space on the door cards for a small sized water jug. Okay, the instrument cluster is partly analog and partly digital. We got an analog speedometer, and this right here displays various information. Like this shows your battery charge level. Right now we have 3 bars. It almost never goes up to 4 bars. So that's the most realistic amount of battery power that you have. Okay, so here at the back, space is pretty good. I have quite a bit of legroom. That's about 4.5 inches. Headroom is also pretty decent at about 1.5 to 2 inches. In terms of toys, there are 2 USB-A ports over there, but there are no air vents and there is no center armrest. So that's your battery gauge over there, and currently it's showing 1.5 bars out of a total of 4 bars. Now, since you can't charge the battery externally, and what is he doing? Now, since you can't charge the battery externally, and since you can't put the vehicle in pure gasoline mode, you can't really get the battery level up to 4 bars in normal driving conditions. Maybe if you're going downhill from Baguio, but in city roads like this, you will likely get it up to just 2 bars or 3 bars. So right now we're at 2.5 bars. We're actually in sport mode, but the engine just won't turn on. It just prefers to be as fuel efficient as possible, even in sport mode. So right now I'm just gonna drive it around until we get to about 2 bars, and then we will try to see how long that 1 bar lasts before the engine turns on again. Okay, so we're now at 2 bars. We'll put it in EV mode and let's see how long it takes before the engine turns on again. Currently at 95.8 kilometers.
Calling now, it's all you trust. Right now, you jump the gun like the last time.
Okay, so the engine just turned on again. We're at 98.3 kilometers, so that's about 3 kilometers. So you can expect about 3 kilometers of range in pure EV mode under normal driving conditions in the city. If you can get the battery power up to 100%, then you could go much further. But like I said, there's no way to do it under normal driving conditions. You have to be going downhill for an extended period of time. The car automatically manages when it should turn on the engine, and the engine never runs long enough for the battery to charge itself fully. Now, unlike other hybrids that you can buy in the Philippines, you can put the Nissan Kicks in EV mode even at highway speeds. So we're gonna put it in EV mode now. And right now we're not consuming any fuel at all. We're doing about 60-70 kph. Now in EV mode you have a range of about 3 to 4 kilometers. It's not much, but the car only has a 2.13 kilowatt hour battery. So you'll see here how much battery power you have left, and once you're down to 1 bar, the engine automatically turns on to charge the battery. Yeah, so right now we're traveling. We've done about 2 kilometers, right? Yeah, we've done about 2 kilometers in EV mode. Let's see how far we can go before the engine turns on again. Okay, so the engine just turned on again, and we were able to do about 4 to 5 kilometers in pure EV mode. We were able to do 4 to 5 kilometers in pure EV mode. In that stretch of time, we were not consuming any fuel at all. Okay, so we're now having the vehicle refueled. We're not just gonna base this on the fuel consumption meter. We're actually gonna have the car fueled. We're gonna drive it for a couple of kilometers, and then we're gonna test. We're gonna check how much fuel we've used. Okay, so the car was delivered to us with a full tank of gas. I just wanted to make sure that it's completely full because I drove a couple of kilometers to the gas station. So right now it is completely full. We're now gonna set our there you go, trip B, 2,000 kilometers reset. Okay, we're now at 0 kilometers. We're gonna go to Ortigas, our favorite shooting location, and we'll see how much fuel we actually consumed. Now we're gonna drive the car like someone who's trying to save fuel. So we're gonna set the temperature to 26 to 27 degrees Celsius. We're not gonna drive aggressively. We're gonna try to use as much regeneration as possible. So we're gonna do a time lapse now from here all the way to Ortigas.
Contemplating all my time. My thoughts make me tired, just running through my mind. Wonder if there's peace that I can find, instead of always being on the grind. I need a new purpose. I'm looking for so much more. Don't leave me here searching. You're just what I'm longing for when times are getting crazy.
Okay, so we've traveled about 11 kilometers. Let's see how much fuel we consumed. Full tank automatic.
Full tank automatic.
Consumed about 0.8 liters of fuel. Okay, so that was 13.9 kilometers per liter, almost 14 in the city with light to moderate traffic. When you're traveling at 60 kph or higher, like I was earlier today, it tends to get worse. So we'll try it again later. Traffic should be worse on the way back, but 14 kpl in the city is not bad. Okay, so we're now heading back to QC from Ortigas. Okay, so we're at our next stop. We've done 28 kilometers. Full tank, automatic, fuel save. Okay, so we've done 28 kilometers since our first refuel. Let's see how much fuel we've consumed. This is my second.
Gasoline full tank automatic.
Nako yan.
26.80 lang.
Damn, bro, that trip from Ortigas to QC, that only cost me 26 pesos. On the way back, I tried to keep it in EV mode for as long as possible. Whenever the engine would turn on, I would back off on the throttle, and usually that turns off the engine. Overall, I did 28.1 kilometers from QC to Ortigas and then back again, and consumed 1.211 liters of fuel. My fuel economy was a lot better on the way back. Perhaps too good, not sure how accurate Shell's pumps are, but overall I spent 79 pesos on the round trip. Now, fuel consumption varies greatly depending on your driving habits. That is a given, but it is especially true on the kicks. Learning to modulate your throttle input on downhill roads is very important. You never take your foot off the gas pedal unless you want to stop or you want to slow down abruptly. You have to learn how to lightly ease off the throttle if you want to maintain your speed on a downhill road. Also, it greatly depends on how long you can keep the car in EV mode, which is usually about 3 to 6 kilometers with the aircon on. Since the aircon compressor and all the aircon components are powered by the battery when the engine is off, it affects your range quite a bit. Now, because the Yaris Cross is driven by an electric motor, it drives very differently from other hybrids like the Yaris Cross hybrid. The torque is a lot more immediate. Like if you step on the gas right now, you get pushed back into your seat. It's definitely a lot more engaging to drive than a lot of the local hybrids that you can buy in the Philippines. I had the Nissan Kicks VE for a couple of days. I got it with a full tank of gas and I returned it with a full tank of gas. On my last day with the car, I just drove it around in sport mode in a pretty spirited manner just to get the fuel gauge to move. And it just wouldn't. Aside from being fuel efficient, another perk of getting a hybrid is that you're exempt from number coding. And I think that's a pretty major factor if this is going to be your only car. Now, it's not all moonlight and roses. The interior is a bit drab compared to other crossovers in the same price bracket, and the lack of a reverse camera is a pretty major omission. But in this case, I think the positives outweigh the negatives. Now, as for the catch, there was one, but not anymore. Hopefully. The Nissan Kicks was known to have a very common failure. The aircon compressor would stop working after just a couple of thousand kilometers. It was a pretty common issue that affected a lot of people, including people that I know. But Nissan has identified the issue, there has been a recall, and all the affected compressors are being replaced, and all current and future Kicks units will have the updated compressor without the issue. So it shouldn't be a problem anymore. Hopefully. Overall, if you're looking for a hybrid that drives well and is priced really well, I can't think of a better choice than the Nissan Kicks VE.